I'm going to do some super chats in a minute. One more clip I want to play here. This is from Gary Neville. Gary Neville is back. It's about the season's prediction. So we'd like to get yours, as we are only just Community Shield this weekend. We're just over a week away from the Premier League beginning. This is Gary Neville being asked, who will be champions?
Well, again, I've got to double down, and I've gone their last two seasons. They finished second in the last 3 seasons, actually. But I didn't back them the first season. I backed City. But I've backed them the last 2. I'm going to stick with them.
What is that, Mark? Arsenal winning the league?
You know what? I am really excited about this Premier League. Taking away the fact that Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool have obliterated everybody. I've never seen a transfer window like it. I did say at the end of last season, if Arsenal get a striker, I'm going to go for Arsenal to win the league. There is an element of they have to win the league to that, like, because it's the missing piece. I've been really interested in the Arteta movement for a while now, and Arsenal fans will know years ago when it was Arteta out in T-shirts, I was very vocal as a United fan on That's Football, saying they should stick with him. He's doing a good job. And I think that gradually, I've always said it's not the end. It's not the end. They're still building. They're still building. I mean, even at the end of last season, we had some people going Arteta out, and it's like, you're not going to sack a guy. He's not at the end of the journey. The interesting thing about Arsenal is, if they did finish second next year and they don't win the Champions League, I think you've got a valid point as an Arsenal fan to say, is that as far as Arteta can take us? Because they've added to their squad. There's a centre-back, there's a goalkeeper, there's another winger, there's another 2 midfielders, there's a striker. So that Arsenal squad now is ready to win the league. The thing that puts doubt in my mind is that I've never seen a team win the league and then have their best transfer window in their history, which is what Liverpool have just gone and done. That's the kicker, because I was working on the assumption that Liverpool might make a couple of signings, like most champions do, and be like, we're happy with what we've got. They've actually bought half a team. So I am going to say, I think I need a longer thought on it. I think off the cuff, I'll still say Arsenal, but a lot of that is that they might not win the league, and I might be sat there going, what more can they do? Like, there was just a better team than them. So, but I think Arsenal have got to be really, really close to it. And if they miss the title by 3 points or something like that, then I don't think you're getting rid of Arteta. But I think Arsenal have to do it this year, and they have got a lot of experience as well. So I think I'm favouring Arsenal, but I mean, you're a fool to go against Liverpool, and Chelsea and Man City to a certain extent are the unknown. I wouldn't disagree. I mean, Man City have done it before, but yeah, I mean, it seems incredible to go against Liverpool with the players that they've retained as well. So it's tough. It's tough.
Do you think too many people are overlooking Man City?
I think, look, for me, and this will probably offend Man City fans, all last season we searched why they were so shit, having been so dominant. And here we are about to start another season, and nobody's offered a better argument than the one I was saying all season, Rodri. Like, Rodri was clearly the reason it all fell apart, and Rodri will be the reason that they get back again. But I also think the rebuild for Man City is massive. Like, I know they've still got Haaland and Diaz, and Rodri will be back, but goalkeeper changes maybe. There's a lot of good players they've got. Cherki's interesting. Mamouche looked good last year. Renders has come in. But I feel that Man City have lost the biggest thing you can lose, and that's the air of invincibility. I think everybody feels they can beat them now. And I'm not even convinced Pep really wants to be there. I think the money was offered to stay, and nobody else, they didn't have a natural replacement. So I don't know. I think with Man City, I think Liverpool and Arsenal are better than them. It'd be a shock to me if they won the league.
Yeah, I don't think it's, as you say, I think there is that. It reminds me of Rocky IV, and they remind me a little bit of when Ivan Drago got cut. When he got that cut, and Rocky's back in the corner, and Tony's saying, he's not a machine, he's a man. I feel there's an element of that with City, and you saw it at the Club World Cup, where teams they beat some teams and did very well in some games. You saw it in the cup in the cup final. There was just this element of teams really fancying themselves against them. And I think that's why some people are putting them in second and third and even in fourth. They know they're going to be a good team and a consistent team, but it's do people, and that's the one thing Liverpool have got in their favor. There is this current fear of, you see this in sports. In the sport I watch in MMA, there are certain fighters that when you get into the ring with them. So, for instance, Francis Ngannou, when he was the king of the heavyweights, his knockout power was so much more than anybody else. You could almost see that in the eyes of all of his opponents. It was, I could have the best 25 minutes I've ever had. It takes a split second and the fight's over. That puts a lot of people off. And I think people view Liverpool in a similar way, which is they're so potent up top, and they're probably adding Isak to this. We've got this young lad, Rio, coming through, looks out of this world. I don't think it's about writing City off. I think it's just seeing Liverpool as the clear favourites. But City and Arsenal both can win this league. And I think Gary Neville is picking my view with Gary Neville now, I think he's picking Arsenal more so he can have a pop at them later. I almost feel like it's staged in that way. The fact, he won't pick Liverpool because, this man has said 5 times, I think, 3 times in the last decade that United will win one before Liverpool win the league title again. I just don't, and I get it. He's United through and through. He doesn't want to predict Liverpool winning the league. But I think there is this element of, I'm going to pick Arsenal. So if they don't win it, I can go in on them a little bit as well. I feel there's an element of that in this from him personally.
Also,
sorry, mate, go on.
Arsenal. What you have to consider as well is the Wolves effect. Like, Wolves were a good team last year at the start of the season, had a horrific fixture list, and it set the tone all the way till Christmas. Arsenal have got to go to Old Trafford and Anfield in their first 3 games. And I know it evens itself out, but if Arsenal had 3 points from 9, that would be a mini crisis. So I think Chelsea and Man City have got relatively straightforward starts to the season. Like, their first 8 games are not particularly challenging. Newcastle, Liverpool have got to go St James's Park and Arsenal at Anfield in their first 3 as well. So Liverpool and Arsenal have got games that are tough in the first 4 or 5 games as well.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Arsenal's a tough start because, again, people think I thought it was scripted, and I stand by that. I do think it is. Same as Man United is quite tough when we play each other, and that's because they're the 2 managers from 2 of the top 4 teams in England in terms of fan bases whose managers are under pressure. So it makes sense they give them a hard start because it creates narratives, and I just don't believe those things are not scripted.
Sky viewing figures are down, aren't they? So what better way to start the season than Liverpool versus Arsenal, Man United, Arsenal versus Man United?
No, I totally agree. A few super chats here. First one's from It says, Mark saying the only reason that Šeško would go to Newcastle is money is a false narrative. United can pay him more in wages, not fooling anyone, mate.
Well, no, you didn't listen. I didn't say Newcastle can pay more money. What I'm saying is that obviously Man United can match that, but it's Newcastle who are offering £69 million up front. Is that not financial? It's Newcastle that are offering Champions League, which will be heavily incentivized on pay, on goals and stuff like that. Newcastle in the short term can offer quite, good financial packages to Leipzig and to Šeško. What I'm saying is, beyond that, what else can they offer? And I think Man United can offer a lot more in relation to status. But look, if Newcastle get him, fair play. I find it quite exciting that we have a transfer where we don't know the outcome and 2 clubs are going against each other. I find that quite exciting. If Newcastle get the deal over the line, I'll applaud them and absolutely, rip into United. But I personally think that's not going to happen. And I think Newcastle, if they miss out again, I've got to look at why they keep missing out on so many players, because some of those players, Mbeumo was another player they wanted as well.
Surely he picks Newcastle. They are top half club in the Champions League too. Makes logical sense to me. He's not a bottom half club player. The problem is with your logic, Simon, is
that's rage bait.
It is rage bait, and the problem with your logic is you're acting like United. I've always been it sounds like you're implying will remain a bottom half the table team. Most people don't believe that will happen. Gentlemen, you both are my 2 favorite content creators, and that's coming from a gunner. Guys out here, 100%. How confident are you of getting Šeško? That's from Steve.
As a percentage, I'm probably about 75%.
Yeah, I'm 65 on that. I keep saying 65, so I'm pretty confident. I said career. You use monetary reasons why Man United are better. That's not a career. Look how Højlund and Isak, for example, of how their careers have progressed. That's true. Guys, what I'll say very quickly about that is this. I am not going to judge previous failings. I'm not going to judge new deals based on their previous failings. So Højlund wasn't bought by this current hierarchy. He was. Do you know what I heard yesterday? And I know you're not a fan of Ineos at all, and you won't defend them where you don't need to. But someone said yesterday, I still hate Ineos for the Højlund deal. I said, why? He goes, my belief is they'd have bought him even if they were here. And I'm like, hang on, we can't start going down that road of retrospective, like multiverse blame on things. It's crazy. So a lot of the signings that people go, oh, this didn't work, that didn't work. Was it this board? Was it these sporting decision makers? Was it this manager? The answer is no. And I'm actually quite happy with the progression of quite a few of our young players. Like Lenny Yoro, for me, is a case in point. So we just don't have enough body of work with the new regime, the new manager, and this new project yet. Yes, we went backwards in the league year one, but I think we'll move forward again this year. And progression isn't always linear. But listen, you listen to what the two players that have joined us so far have said, and I think that goes a long way. We will get a 6 or an 8, someone like Andre or Amicha. We hope, my friend. We hope. I don't know too much about those two players, if anything, about the first name. But yeah, we hope. If Pep wins next season, the Premier League versus Liverpool, Galactico GOAT, I think it's going to have to be a massive effort for it. Anyway, I've said this last night that if Arsenal or City win it, it's going to have to be one of the greatest managerial performances in the history of the Premier League. I think it's going to be you're going to have to be amazing. Newcastle with the best midfield last season, played at 3-4-3 at the Emirates and struggled. Do you think Amorim will succeed with 3-4-3 in the Prem?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've changed the mic because I'm running down low. What was the question? Newcastle with best midfield last season, played 4-4-3 at the Emirates and struggled. Do you think Amorim will succeed in the Prem? Well, I think he has to succeed. I mean, I have my question marks about Amorim. Certainly, I don't like Bruno in the midfield, and I think that was proved again against Everton. But look, I think any United fan, any fan, in fact, Arsenal, Liverpool, maybe not, is so successful. But I think every fan goes into a new season scrutinising the weak points, and goalkeeper, striker, midfield, even wing backs for United are still questionable in the way that we play. But nothing overshadows the fact that I want to be absolutely wrong on everything and Amorim to be everything right, because I don't want to sack another manager and I don't want to hear Amorim out. But, you know, there are concerns. But he ain't going to change his formation. So, and as I said last night at the United Stand, people talk about the system. It's not the system. It's not the system. It's the personnel. If Pep Guardiola was at Man United using these players, his system wouldn't work. But it works at City. Same with Slot. Yeah. It wouldn't work. You give Slot the midfield of Ugarte, Mainu, Bruno, Casemiro, and he won't win the league because he's got McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, etc. Curtis Jones. So it's personnel. He's had 3 signings and he needs about 8. So it's not a system. It's a personnel thing.
Totally agree. Viewers, listen.